what's going on, Dilfers? Let's talk about deep diving crankbaits. One of my favorite ways to fish. Dog days of summer, the hotter, the better. What happens is those fish will usually get down in the brush because it's nice and cool down there, or they could be on like rock piles or, you know, anything that's around 15 to 25 foot of water. That's the water I like to cover. You can also throw like a big 3/4 ounce jig, drop shot it, or you can also worm it. My weapon of choice is the deep diving crankbaits. Now there's a few different ones that I like throwing. This is the Baby DD. This one will go about 15 foot, which is on 10-pound test. You can get it deeper if you kneel and reel, what I like to call it, where you kneel down and get as much of the rod in the water that you can and just crank it. And that will allow this bait to get down to about a couple more feet, like maybe 17 foot. This is a great bait. I love this bait, especially when they're on rock or like brush that's in 12 to 15 foot. This is the bait that I like throwing, and it rarely gets hung up. Another bait that I like throwing is the DT16. Now this bait will get down around 16, 17 foot, same as this one, but you can see the size difference. This one's a more smaller profile. I've caught a lot more fish. I've caught a lot of catfish on the DT16, but they do catch bass as well. Yeah, boy. I've caught more bass on the Baby DD. And, you know, and I don't know if it's because the smaller profile or, you know, because I fish a lot of high pressured lakes. This one definitely outfishes this one. This is a good one. I will throw this. I'll throw them both. It's totally different action. This one doesn't pull as hard as this one, but sometimes they want this one and they don't want this one. So there you go. Here's one more thing. You got my face?
No, Shane, I got on your ass.
One more thing I forgot to mention when deep cranking, and that is, I don't know what I'm doing with my hands when I do this. I think it's a nervous thing or like a tick or something like that. One more thing that I forgot to mention about deep cranking. You have to have one of these. A plug knocker, lure retriever. I actually made some out of the pyramid weights at 2 ounces with a paper clip. They work, or not a paper clip, but a swivel. They actually work good for like jigs and small crankbaits. Deep diving ones, you really need something like this. I think this is the Bass Pro Shop one. It's got like the little chains on it to where it'll grab a hold of those hooks and rip them out. And all I do is put it on a marker buoy, right? And then just tie it up there, throw it in the water, and then just work it back. This will save you money right here. Another little tip. Next one I like throwing is the DT20. I absolutely love this bait. This bait will get down to 20 foot. Both of my cranking reels, I spool up 10-pound shooter, sunline shooter. This DT20 will get down to a good 20 foot and they will clobber this thing, no lie. If you go looking for crankbaits right now, they're hard to find because of the COVID-19. COVID-19. Exactly. I've got a couple of these left, and I actually ordered some last week that have not came in yet. This is also a good deep diving crankbait. It pulls harder than the other one, which I have none left, is the Little John DD. That one gets down to 20 foot as well. Very good crankbait. Gets down, fish eat it. That's all you need to know.
Can't see it.
You don't have to, just keep it on me.
Okay.
I've got two different crankbait setups. I've got one on a Denali 7.6 covert, and this is a medium heavy. You can throw up to 1 ounce crankbaits. Like I can throw the DT20s, I can throw the Little John DDs, I can throw the Little John Super DD, which this one goes to about 25 foot a hoss. I've only thrown it a few times, starting to play with this one a lot more, but not enough to give a review about it. And I like throwing the Baby DDs on this, or the DT16s, which it can handle the DT20s no problem, but for some reason I just like, because you can throw these things a good 20-30 yards no problem, and the rod just feels great. I've been using these Lew's BB1 speed spools. These reels are probably 4 years old, 5 years old. Never had a problem out of them. They're great reels. They got that deep spool. They've got the long handle. It's a 6-4-1. Best crankbait reel on the market right there. And I've got them both. That's what I use on both of my Denali's is the Lew's BB1 speed spools. Other rod that I use is a 7-4. It's called an Attacks Denali. It's more of a fiberglass. It's more of a glass rod feel, but it's kind of it's a hybrid type deal, I think. It feels like a fiberglass rod, like the whippy fiberglass rods. This has more of like the KVD cranking rods they came out with, the maroon quantum ones. It's got that whippy feel, but I like throwing the deep ones on this. I mean, this is a big rod, thick rod, and it handles these bigger plugs. You don't have to just crank points like a lot of people I know will just go up to a point and just start cranking. Like, you don't crank points, dude. I crank everything. If I'm in 20 foot of water, 25 foot of water, if I'm in 18 foot of water, I'm gonna be throwing that baby DD, getting it down there, cranking. I'll crank bluffs. I'll crank the sides of docks, deep docks. I'll crank points. I'll crank anything that I see any kind of structure on the bottom wherever I'm fishing. If I'm seeing rock, whatever, I'm gonna throw a crankbait. I don't care, like I said, you don't have to just throw it on points. So I hope this video helped you out on explaining deep diving crankbaits, where to throw them, when to throw them, what kinds to throw, how deep they go, your line setup, Sunline, 10-pound test on all my reels, Lew's BB1 speed spools, and Denali rods, cranking rods. That's all you need. See you next time.